right. Thank you, John, for agreeing to chat with us for a little bit. I
Yeah.
know you are currently living in Colorado. You just moved about a year ago, right?
Yeah, almost exactly a year ago.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, so tell us a little, you spent a long time in Nashville. So tell us a little bit about like you were one of the top buyer's agents, moved into a listing agent role. Like, what was some of your greatest struggles that you had as being one of the top real estate agents in Nashville?
Um, well, real estate is very hard. If you haven't gotten into it, you should know that. So there's a lot of struggles that come with real estate, and I think the things that I struggled with the most was sticking to the calendar and also being accountable to yourself, right? I mean, a lot of the biggest struggles is just creating that space where you can go do your work, right? And so it's really easy to be distracted by all the things that real estate throws at you. And it's really easy to be distracted by, oh, I'll just go take another class so I can learn something, or oh, I'll just go to this event so I can meet some people. When you really, dial it in, it's really hard to do anything if you're always, going to those classes or always going to those networking events. So the struggle was really just keeping to the calendar of what I knew I needed to do in order to get results. And once I overcame that, and the team certainly helped with the Fikes group of getting into that, is really sticking to that calendar and saying, hey, I have an appointment with this person, treat appointments just like you would, time to do research. And so that was one thing I think that was pretty big struggle at the beginning because there's so much, a lot of shiny objects.
Yeah, yeah. So when you think of like, all right, I need to do what my calendar says, for people who say, I want to be like you, like I want to be one of the top
Hmm.
agents in Nashville, what is the priority on their calendar? Like, what are those things that you had to make non-negotiable, that you struggled to make non-negotiable?
Yeah, I think it was early on that I learned there's really two businesses in real estate, right? There's the business of creating business, which is really hard to learn. That might go back to add that to the struggles. Like you have to create the business, so you have to actually go and find business. So lead generation is the one thing that's on the calendar, and then the other thing is servicing the clients once you convert them and they hire you for their home search or selling their home. So putting those things on the calendar, the non-negotiables, was really the morning time. You've heard that saying, eat the frog. People have said, do the hard things first. Like getting the lead generation time on the calendar in the morning was really life changing. And then being able to service those clients in the afternoon and sticking to that calendar to say, this is when your time is. Those are the things that really stood out on the calendar to make sure. Um, when you go through your calendar, you often want to put a lot of personal stuff on there, which you should do first for breaks and vacations and things that need it. But when it comes down to the daily activity, it really is do that lead generation in the morning and then doing the servicing of the business in the afternoon for like showing homes and research and stuff.
Well, and once you got that habit in place and became successful, then you actually had another priority that hit your calendar. Like we worked for years on, all right, John wants to pick up his kids, like bus stop hours is what we called them.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how did you succeed at that? Because agents who are really successful would say there's no way you could stop working at 3:30. Um, so
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that. That became a priority that you worked in the morning and you earned the right to take your afternoons off and still have a big business. So how did you succeed at that?
Well, it took a lot of planning. It took a lot of being accountable to the calendar. And then what I ended up doing was hiring somebody to be in the buyer business with me. And we created a team within the team. And so having the bus stop hours basically as a buyer agent, what's really time consuming is showing homes, right? It can be a bigger chunk of time than you really realize. And so I hired a showing assistant. We leveraged different agents to help with that and bringing on people who wanted to get into the industry and kind of had those skill sets to be with people. So really getting to bus stop hours was a matter of, let's find the pieces that are taking me away from being able to be with the kids and hire somebody to help me with it. And during that time, they were in the meetings with me, and then they would understand, like, yeah, when it comes time to negotiating, I'm there for you. But if you just need to get into a house, like, we have people to help with that as well. So it was finding people to help carry the load,
Yeah.
really.
And like I said, you earned your right to that. You built a big enough business that you could hire somebody. And then did your income go
Hmm.
down or did it go up?
When the income, when you hire somebody, you're like, oh, now I have this expense, right? And you think naturally it's going to, but when you build the business that way, your income can stay the same, if not grow. There's always ups and downs with real estate, but
Of
yeah, I
course.
was able to pretty much have the same earning potential and service more clients in less time,
Right. You
which
work
is pretty
less and make the same
phenomenal.
amount of money, which is
Yeah,
the dream.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I know that I hear this all the time. I know you get this question all the time because you were with us for over 10 years. Like you
yeah,
spent your Nashville career at Fikes. And so a lot of people think, oh, I join a team because I don't know what I'm doing. And then once I know what I'm doing, I'll go do it on my own. So
yeah,
why would you have stayed? Like, why did you stay on Fikes?
yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons. And it comes down to team camaraderie. It comes down to the fun that we had. It comes down to, I think people get into real estate and don't realize there's actually like 10 businesses.
Yeah.
I had mentioned the two businesses, which is working, finding business and then servicing it. But in the environment with the Fikes Group, in the team environment, there really is agents doing agent things. Like, you've worked hard to get your license, right? Continue to do that. You don't need to worry about marketing or, all of the things that come with owning the bigger business of, I mean, you spent a lot of time recruiting for different positions within the business, right? There's that leverage, and then that family feeling of, hey, we've been doing this for a while together, and there's no way that I saw that I was going to go grow as fast or go as far by myself. And so I forget who said it, but it's, if you want to go far, do it together. If you want to go fast, do it alone. And I saw that, I want to go far, I want to go big, and like, we're already headed in that way. So why would I ever quit that to then go start completely fresh with things that I really don't have a core knowledge of? There's a lot more things that go on. But when you're on a team, the agents can just do agent things, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah. So, how would you say your life is different after your time with Fikes?
Well, in many ways, um, you know, in many ways. So we did a lot of book clubs, right? You just mentioned you guys walked through an oldie but goodie. And those are things also that I wouldn't find myself doing on my own. When it's like, hey, we're going to read a book this month, like, you can choose, but we'll talk about it. It's that accountability within the team, saying you're going to do something and then other people hearing it, right? So I think the biggest thing, and why I'm better for having been there, is a lot of mindset stuff as well, because you don't realize that real estate is a sales role. And I mean, man, you hear no a lot. And to have that team to say, hey, here's a book we can read about that, let's discuss it, here's some ideas on how to change what you say in order. I mean, the sales coaching alone has opened up opportunities for me here in Colorado that most likely would not have ever showed up, because I wouldn't have had the confidence in my sales skills, right? In the language of sales, to be able to go do consulting for the largest home builder in the world. Like, there's just things that come along with it, the education, um, just the bigger thinking overall. I think there was something we used to say, like, if people aren't laughing at your goals, like, they're not big enough.
Yeah.
Um, and just that mindset of like, "Oh, yeah, we can go accomplish really big things together." Um,
Yeah.
so that was a big part of it, and just I mean, even to the following a budget and, like, thinking about the future and, like, leaving a legacy for your kids. It's like, people don't talk about that stuff, on the regular, and that was something that we talk about all the time. Like,
Yeah.
what's next? How are you gonna help others lead a life like this as well? So,
Yeah, I remember
um,
when we celebrated you passing the $1,000,000 net worth,
yeah.
on the team, and I also remember when I brought you a house, and I said, "John, you buy this house or I'm buying this house." And I still wish you'd said no because I really love to own it, but I'm so glad that that was a part of your portfolio, so that's
Yeah,
always fun
yeah,
also to
yeah, and it just
think bigger.
compounds. It just compounds, and even the other opportunities where it's like, "Hey, we're selling this house, but maybe we didn't market it the same way." It's like, "Well, I'm in a position to oh, okay, I'll buy it." Like, you get in on the opportunities just become endless, really,
I
which
love
is
that.
really great. Of
Well, thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. If you're okay, I'll leave contact information if anybody wants to reach out and learn more about.
course.
John is a amazing expert in new home construction for sure, but he's also, like I said, one of the top real estate agents, or was one of the top real estate agents in Nashville, and has got a heart to give and help as well. So if you have any questions for him, we'll get his contact info in the comments. And yeah, thanks, John, for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.